really hot in my office. But my doctor put me on some new antidepressants called bupropion, and when I got on them, to say the change was almost immediate is an understatement. I feel so much better. I feel so much more clear-headed. It's odd. I haven't felt this way in probably over a year since I lost my job last December, and I just kind of fell into that pit that I've been living in for the last year. But now I just feel so much better. It's not that the depression anxiety is gone, it's that I can now see through the fog. Like, I can look at the situation, and whereas something might happen and I would immediately freak out and it'd just be a crisis, because my anxiety would just ramp up everything that could go wrong. I don't have that same response now. I can still react to, I can still, react if something's wrong, but I can also look at things objectively, look at them as like, okay, this is literally the worst that could happen and it's not that bad. I can get through this. It also has me evaluating some of the decisions that I've made in the past few months. There were a lot of decisions that I made pretty much based on my anxiety and my depression and how they made me interpret certain things. And I made decisions that I don't want to sit here and blame them on my anxiety and depression, but I made them. I made them. I listened to the advisor of my mental issues instead of my clear-headed advisor. Basically, I was listening to Wormtongue instead of Gandalf the White, and I just made decisions based on bad information that I was giving myself, that I was convincing myself of, and I would make the wrong decision. But now that I'm thinking clearly, it's making me realize that I really need to start following my own instincts and my own advice. My entire life, I have spent it going to people asking for advice on what to do because obviously they're smarter than me, they're more experienced than me, they know what they're doing, mainly because they're not me. And that was basically the defining factor for why I would reach out for another person's advice on something, because they obviously knew better than me because they were not me. But I'm now realizing that I'm actually pretty intelligent. This is going to sound really arrogant. I'm actually pretty intelligent. I'm pretty resourceful. I've survived a lot of really shitty things, and here I am on the other side of it. I'm pretty awesome. I am. I'm pretty awesome. And despite however good advice someone can give me, and I absolutely appreciate and thank everyone in my life who I've gone to for advice, the advice they've given me and helped me through things, but I realize that they don't necessarily know better than I do simply because they're not me. There are plenty of situations where a person might know something better than I do that I would go to advice for, but when it comes to things in my own life and my own experiences, despite however much I can tell them, when asking for advice, no one knows myself and my experiences better than I do, and that's just a fact. People will give me advice based on the information I give them, but I may not give them all the information because I may forget something, I may overlook something, and they give me the best information they can. And I appreciate the advice that people have given me, but I need to start listening to my own advice. I need to start taking my own advice and giving myself my own advice over someone else, because surprisingly, I actually know what I'm talking about most of the time. Like I said, I am intelligent. I know what I'm doing most of the time, regardless of me saying for my entire life I have no idea what I'm doing. I've actually realized recently that's not true. I actually do know what I'm doing a majority of the time, and that's something I've never said about myself before. That's something I've never realized about myself before. I am intelligent. I am resourceful. I am awesome. And I'm not saying that the change in medication is what ultimately fixed this. But it's definitely the first giant step in a journey that I need to keep putting myself on. And this is going to sound hypocritical, but I do see that I also do really need to be back in therapy. And I know that's weird saying, because I've already said that I need to listen to my own advice, and now I'm saying that I need to pay someone to give me advice, which that's not really That's not really what therapy's ever been for me. Therapy has, for me, always feels like a sounding board of someone who is just as intelligent but has different resources and different information for me to use the tools in my own arsenal effectively to navigate through life. So this is definitely a recent development, but I feel so much better. I feel much more confident in myself, which again, very new to me. I don't know that I've ever felt this confident in myself. I felt this good a year ago, before I lost my job, and then I didn't, and it was miserable. But now I'm okay, and I'm clear-headed. I'm thinking clearly. I'm seeing clearly. I'm seeing through the fog that has just been around me for, in the very least, the past year, and I'm able to move forward. Yeah, I'm able to move forward. Just take the next step forward. It's a good feeling. It's a new feeling, but it's a good feeling. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be at this point, and I'm glad to be able to think clearly whenever something's going wrong. Like, just for an example, night is always just kind of a really depressing time for me because I've always been a night owl, but then when my dad was sick, I would always just stay up until the sun came up listening to make sure everything was okay. And since then I've had trouble sleeping, and then after he passed, I would just have these really terrible dreams, which I still have. So night was just always kind of a down time for me. But now I can sit here and say, I'm starting to feel depressed. I'm starting to feel miserable. I need to go to sleep. I don't just need to go to bed. I need to go to sleep. I need to switch it off and on again and wake up the next day and hopefully be refreshed and move past that time of just feeling miserable at night. It's things like that I can really, I can see clearly, and I can think clearly. So I need to start taking my own advice, because no one knows me or my life better than me. And I just need to keep reminding myself that I am intelligent, I am resourceful, I know what I'm doing. I'm kind of awesome. So share your thoughts on this if you've gone through similar things where, like, your issues, your mental illnesses, your depression, your anxiety was just kind of clouding your judgment, or if you've gone through times where you can finally see through the fog of those. Talk to me about them. Talk to me in the comments on any of my social media. Just, feel free to open up. But other than that, thank you for listening, and I will talk to you later.